Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. Today, I am here with Yvonne Secreto, and we're here to talk about a new book that she's releasing called Elevated Relationships. I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit about what her book is about. So, Elevated Relationships is a 4 segment, 30-day program that will transform your relationships habits forever. Practice and process the information in each segment for relationships is a classroom and how there is no such thing as a bad relationship. There are only 2 types of relationships, and they are created for 2 purposes: kingdom building and the classroom assignment. You will also learn practical sexual energy building exercises. These exercises will develop to create the most phenomenal, sacred, and divine sexual energy in order to be used to elevate ourselves, our partners, and our kingdom. It will be important to use visualization and your imagination to learn. The pacifier, the butterfly, hands of light, the heart combination, and eternal kisses. Yvonne Miller Secreto, RN, has a solid combination of healthcare education because training and life experience. She is a nurse, entrepreneur, author, and CEO founder of Health Awareness Education Products and Services, LLC, the creator of the wellnessgalaxy.com and advancedhealthawareness.com. The wellnessgalaxy.com is a community of virtual and in-person holistic health professionals and paraprofessionals who are training intuitive coaching and customized wellness life plans to seekers of natural healing. She is a healthcare administration graduate of CCNY at CUNY and has completed business development certification courses through the Hofstra University Entrepreneur Program and Columbia University's nonprofit business certification program. Ms. Secreto has decades of experience as a clinical registered nurse to a diverse patient population. She is a member of the Holistic Nurses Association and the International Association of Counselors and Therapists, the Wellness Galaxy. And let me again introduce Miss Yvonne Secreto. Thank you for joining this evening.
Thank you, Kenya. Wow, that was a mouthful. That was a lot to say. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am actually re-releasing this book. It was released prior, and we've improved it, upgraded it, and we wanted to talk about it on Valentine's Day because I know there are so many people out there who are looking for a healthy relationship. So I want to first say happy Valentine's Day to everyone. And I want to say that it's my goal and my heart's desire to support anyone on that journey. I remember when I was in a real sticky part on that journey. My husband and I, next year will be 50 years that we're together. And during that time, we've separated. We had 8 marriage counselors, and we learned a lot about ourselves and each other. And what I did was I put all of that information, not necessarily about us, but the good that I got from the counseling and the growth, I put it into this book, and it's a very easy to read, a small book, but it gives you a lot of information. I had one lady say to me, I studied that book. I read it 3 times, marked it up, felt like I was in a private session with you, and I really studied it. And she had sworn off relationships, divorced, not interested. And now she is happily married. As far as the sexual energy exercises, I have another lady who read the book, and she met a person, a man at her church, and they became friends, and they started talking, and they, just grew to know each other, and they were dating for about a year, not friends for about a year, and then started dating. And she said to me, the night that we were intimate and I used those exercises, he never went back home. He went home, got clothes, and came back to my house. And now they two are happily married. So I'm excited about what these exercises can do for you. And I'm just really working with you to shift your thinking and your consciousness. I'm just getting over a slight cold, so my voice may not project as well as I would like it to, but I'm still very excited about sharing the information with you. Every week for the next 4 weeks, we're going to really dive into the segments. I'm going to give you questions, exercises. We're going to really go into this so that you really understand and get it. So the 4 segments are: segment 1, relationship as a classroom. So like Kenya said, the theory is there are 2 types of relationships. One is a classroom relationship, and once you graduate out of that, you move into the relationship that is called kingdom building. And when you're building a kingdom, you have connected with someone that you feel is worth elevating that person to a throne beside your throne, okay? So you're both on your thrones, elevated. That's kingdom building. And you are just growing and thriving and supporting each other. And I'll talk more about the classroom in a minute, because that's a fun one. Most of us stay in the classroom our whole lives.
Yes, we're always learning.
And there's 4 types of classroom relationships. Why don't I jump right into them? So the first one is, some people spend their entire lifetime in the relationship classroom. Some people spend the entire classroom time with the same person, meaning they're learning over and over again, and they're still with that person learning. Some people spend their entire classroom time with the same lesson, but many different people. So, sometimes you meet someone and everything's going well, and then they have the same habits that the other person had. That's the person who's in the same lesson, but a different person. Okay.
I had a quick question. So
yes.
Normally when you're falling into situations like that, is it something that the person is doing where they're kind of selecting the same individual, just, in different people?
It's actually not something that they're doing, it's something that they're being. Okay. And so we're going to talk about how to recognize who you are being so that you are attracting that person to you. It's called the mirror principle. And so you are mirroring the person that's either the same or the opposite of what you are. And that attraction is there. Once you learn that lesson, you move out of that attraction and you move out of that learning, that type of learning. Some people spend many lifetimes in the same classroom. Now, for those of you who believe in reincarnation, it's possible that you're coming back over and over again learning the same lesson. Mm-hmm. And some people just completely check out. Mm-hmm. They decide that they're not going to participate. It's too much headache. It's too much trouble. I am not going to activate this part of my life altogether. Okay? So I am hoping after you join us for the 4 segments If you are in the if you are in the relationship where you've checked out, I'm hoping that you'll check back in.
I've been talking to a few friends, and then also, Valentine's Day is such a sensitive day for a lot of people.
Sure.
People tend to kind of break up around this time of the year.
I didn't
People
know
are,
that.
yeah, no, they do. Yeah, people break up around this time of the year, and then or they're in a weird space, and they're trying to figure out the relationship, trying to figure out what to do, trying to figure out should they stay together, should they leave. So this
Maybe
time of
they
year,
get reflective. They get reflective.
mhm.
So let's talk about the second segment. Who do you bring to the relationship? Okay, because this is key. Now, this information came from two books that I read early on. One is called You Can Have It All by Arnold Patent, and the other one is called A Creative Visualization by Shaki Gawain. And basically, what they talk about is the fact that we attract people who resonate with us, right?
Mhm.
He calls it the mirror principle.
Mhm.
So if you're a damsel in distress, you might attract a knight in shining armor. If you're, and it talks about old male, old female. I'm going to get into that in a few minutes. But it talks about really attracting the type of person that even unconsciously compliments you. And sometimes it's not a positive compliment, right? So recognizing that. Now, guess what? When you change that within yourself, you cannot be with that type of person. It's like when the magnets repel each other and they can't stick together, it's like that.
Oh wow.
You actually repel the person. They don't even come close to you.
Right.
So if someone's in a classroom and they're like, why am I learning this lesson over and over and over?
Over and over. Yep.
Yeah. Then they can look at what they're doing and then come out of the cycle. So I do that with a 5-step relationship healing exercise. And we can do this exercise with any type of relationship. It does not have to be a love relationship. I tell people all the time when I do this with them, if your most difficult relationship, mother, father, brother, sister, cousin, we can have a shift take place in that relationship after we do this 5-step process without saying one word to the person. Okay, so our second week, we're going to go over that exercise. It's a lot of fun, and you're going to be blown away. We also talk about old male, old female, and new male, new female. Now, what does that mean? According to Shaki Gawain, and I kind of modified some of what she was saying based on my own personal experience. The male energy, not a man, but male energy can be old, which is aggressive and domineering and dominating, or new, which is assertive and right action based. And I'll give you some examples. If you are a musician, let's say, and you hear a melody in your head, you're taking right action if you write it down, play the chord on your guitar or whatever, record it. That's right action. Okay, so you take things to fruition. When you're using old male energy, you're not focused on that. You're focused on controlling and dominating things. So there's women and men that have that. And the female energy, there's women and men that have that too. Female energy is intuition. So how many of us trust our intuition? How many of us follow our intuition? How many of us are intuitively guided? That's
Right.
new female energy. Old female energy is a victim, a damsel in distress, and other descriptions that represent weakness. Okay. In this theory that I'm presenting, women are not, and I'm not talking about the gender. Female energy is not weak. Intuition is very powerful.
Right.
And guess what? The female intuition energy leads the male right action energy within you.
Right.
So if you intuit the tune, a direction to move in, maybe you're supposed to move to another state. If you're intuiting that and you take the right action steps to get there, then you are following the theory of new male energy, new female energy. Now,
Right.
in this exercise, if you learn to have your male and female internally work with each other, so that when you intuit something, you're following it, and you're not being weak and a victim. You're not being bossy and controlling. And so you take a look. There's a whole chart in the book, and it has
Right.
everything broken down. You take a look at each one of these qualities, and you make a conscious decision to balance them within yourself.
Right.
Because if you're following your intuition, you're always making the right decision. And you probably wouldn't have even attracted that person you're not happy about in the first place. All right. So it's learning how to do that and connecting to that internal male and female self, taking right action so that you're not that starving artist. You're getting all these wonderful ideas, but you're not actualizing them.
Okay.
Now you're taking right action, you're actualizing them. So that's the second segment.
Right.
The third segment is really interesting. It talks about rules and tools. I have this saying that there should be a healer in every home. And what does that mean? That means that I kind of have like a natural first aid kit that I always have aloe vera. I always have just different tools and things to try to keep us as healthy as possible. I know even this cold that I had could have been much worse had I not been taking my emergency and just different things. So those are rules and tools are to keep you and your family healthy, but they're also to keep you and your family happy. So we talk about all kinds of tools. You know, there's something called SAD. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's seasonal affective disorder. Have you ever heard of that?
No, this is my first time.
Yeah, so it's an actual diagnosis where in the wintertime, people actually become sad. And it's just a natural occurrence that happens. And there's something that's actually called a happy light.
Okay.
And when we're doing rules and tools, I'm going to show you some of these tools.
Okay.
And that happy light is something that you can sit in front of it and bathe yourself in that. Actually help to increase your vibration. That helps you to just feel more alive.
Right.
And so, you know, I like this really, really old movie, Splendor in the Grass. It's like black and white type of movie. And it shows where Warren Beatty is in the movie, and he has to go to see the doctor, and they have him in front of this light, and he goes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the happy light. As a pediatric nurse years ago when I first started, we would put the babies under the Billy lights. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but when the babies get jaundice and they're just born, if they're not drinking enough fluid to flush out the extra red blood cells in their body,
Right.
they have to go under these lights.
Okay.
And the light, they cover their eyes, but the lights correct the situation somehow. So lights are very healing, and I try to tell people to always have some kind of light, a wand, I mean, there's so many wonderful tools you can use to help correct imbalances. And so
Right.
we're going to talk about a lot of that, how to keep you and everyone in your kingdom happy and healthy. And the fourth segment is using sexual energy to keep yourself really charged up. And the idea for this chapter came from a book called the Magdalene Manuscripts,
Mhm.
a really fascinating book that talks about Mary Magdalene and how she used sexual energy. Um, and she did a lot of healing with the sexual energy. So I know she's depicted in a negative way in society sometimes, but the
Right.
book was very fascinating. And one of the things that I learned from the book is during your orgasm, if you actually visualize the energy of the orgasm, which becomes very real, bathing you and your partner and surrounding you and your partner, it energizes both of you.
Mhm.
Of
Wow.
course, it has to be a real love connection there.
But
Um, but I mean, you can still have an orgasm and not be in love with the person.
I mean,
But
it's a natural thing in our that we feel in our bodies. So yeah,
yes, yes, it's a
possible.
natural energy that comes up. So I
That's the same.
wrote,
That's I guess that would be the same thing for like men. Like men could have like all these multiple partners, but have no real connection with the
yes,
partner.
yes.
Mhm.
And that is, it does probably does the opposite. But when you have a connection with someone and the woman has her orgasm and bathes the man and herself in the aura of the orgasm, it's a fantastic thing. And so I talk about that and some other exercises that bring you to that place. And it's very exciting. The book comes with cards. There's 5 cards that have the exercises written on them
Mhm.
so that you don't have to go through the book to remember. You could just pull up the card and read the exercises. So that's the 4th week, and that's the one where we have the most fun. This is not something you have to do with someone else. I ran a group once and the ladies were saying, look, I have a good time by myself. And I definitely can use these exercises.
Mhm.
So um, it's for couples and singles, the
Mm.
exercises.
Okay.
Um, so those are the 4 weeks that we're going to be covering. A lot of exciting things. I also have a meditation video at the end of each talk
Mhm.
so that you can process what you have received and heard and share it and use it if you want to. You can let it actually be absorbed into your being
Mhm.
if you want to.
Mhm.
So that is part of the treat that is
Mhm.
in store for us.
Right. That sounds great. And
Yeah,
I'm sure the couples will be very appreciative. Those who decide to jump on the program, and then also just singles and anyone who is interested, and understand like we are catering to our older adults and people who are serious in having great connections in their relationship.
absolutely.
Mhm.
I'm looking for some questions because
Okay.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say yeah. No questions, but we are getting some likes and hearts. So
No,
people are being shy, or maybe just enjoying their Valentine Day um,
yes.
festivities. But yeah, once those questions come in, I definitely will post them up on the live. Or if I get those questions coming in after the live, I will be sending those questions straight directly to you, and then on the next um, episode, we can redirect back to any questions that were given.
And I also wrote some questions. I'm actually looking for those too.
Mhm. Oh, that's
just for people to think about. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Just keep in mind, think about, yeah, like
And
that.
I may even have a small focus group, and if you have questions, I could start bringing these questions out to the focus group, and then
Mm-hmm.
so you can have some feedback as what people are thinking.
Yes, yes. Okay, and of course the workbook, but
Hmm.
that five-step relationship is a really a great place to start in terms of recognizing, okay, what is it that the classroom is teaching me? That's
Hmm.
the main thing I want to get across to people when they're taking that particular exercise.
Hmm. Hmm. Sounds good.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. I look forward to sharing this with the focus group, and also people who are on the live and are not afraid to ask a question while we're here on live. Don't be afraid. If you have a question, she's here to help you, assist you, and guide you in any way.
I'm going to read out a lot of questions for people to ponder, okay?
Okay.
And when they come back next week, when we meet, we're going to really have answers for these questions, okay?
Okay.
So, what does a healthy relationship look like to you? Okay, I want you to think about that.
I'm gonna
How do
start
you
adding. I'm gonna start adding these questions in the chat as well, and then we also have a comment from Aya Dr. Robin D. Cooper. She says the book is so beautiful. I loved everything about this book.
Yes. Thank you, Robin. How do you define love, and how has your definition evolved over time?
Can we go back to the first question?
Okay. The first question was, what does a healthy relationship look like to you? See, that's the key. When we were going to these 8 marriage counselors, my husband and I, it was to really find that healthy relationship. What a healthy relationship look like to us may not look the same to someone else. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so your definition of what healthy looks like is very important. And
Mm-hmm.
then taking it into your relationship and making it a reality
Mm-hmm.
so that it's what your partner is looking for is very important.
Okay.
So, what does a healthy relationship look like to you? How do you define love? And how has your definition evolved over time?
Okay. You have to give me a moment. I wish I had
Yeah.
quick
You don't have to
typing
write
hands.
all of these. I
What was
can send it to you.
what was? Yeah, I just want to put it in the chat so people could see it.
Oh,
So,
okay.
what was the second
So
question?
the second one had to do with defining love.
Defining.
So, yeah, how do you define love?
Okay.
And has it changed over time? Of course, when we're in high school, love feels and looks much different.
It does. Yes.
Now. We're more tolerant now. We're no, you know. So,
Right.
yeah.
What
So
was the
you
next question after that?
uh it's defining it, and then how has it evolved over time? You have that?
Yeah. Over time, you said, right?
Yeah. Over time. The next question has to do with the patterns, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The patterns are so important because they are what drives the classroom. We keep
Mm-hmm.
repeating these patterns. So
Okay.
the next question says, what patterns do you notice in your past relationships? And you could just find a word: impatient, intolerant, whatever. Um,
In your current relationships?
no. Past. What
Past.
patterns that
Okay.
you have noticed, and are they helping or hindering you?
Okay.
Now, this one is important.
Mm-hmm.
You have that? You have it
Yes.
written down?
Yes. And
Now,
I'm gonna start showing the comments in the chat as well. So
okay, I have a lot of questions though. What qualities are you looking for in a partner? You know why this is important? Because the next part of that question is, do you embody those qualities yourself? Are you a magnet to those qualities? You see?
do you
That's the mirror principle. Now, I have a friend who wrote her qualities down, and she number one, she put, he makes me laugh. And I had a really hard time with that.
is it do you embody those qualities based on your past relationships?
No,
Oh,
within yourself. So the question is, what qualities are you looking for in a partner? And the next part of that question is, do you embody those qualities yourself? Okay?
okay.
So
Okay.
ask yourself and make your list. I mean, we all did that in high school. I, remember making a list. But like I said, my friend made the list and she put, he makes me laugh at the top of the list. And I had a problem with that. I was like, oh my gosh, that shouldn't be your number one ask,
Mm-hmm.
And she said, that's what's important to me.
Right.
That I have fun with that person, that I'm enjoying myself. So, everyone has, some people want to make sure he's like, has a lot of dough, or he's, whatever, generous, fair, whatever. But definitely make that list and then ask yourself, do you also embody that quality?
Right.
Okay? Those are general questions.
Okay.
For segment number 1, some questions are,
Okay.
do you see the relationship that you're in or have been in as an opportunity for personal growth? Have you ever looked at the relationship that way? This is my opportunity for personal growth.
Do you see the relationship you are in or have been in? Okay.
As an opportunity for personal growth. And just, if you do a yes or no, then say why.
Okay.
This is an easy one. Have you ever experienced a relationship that felt like a classroom? I think most of us have. I mean, mine was like a master class. And I tell people all the time, I would do it all over again if I got the same results. But it was very difficult going through those results. So, have you ever experienced a relationship that felt like a classroom? Meaning, what am I learning? What is this situation showing me, right? In the book, we talk about someone introducing themselves to you as their representative.
Right.
Right? So you meet someone, you can't believe how amazing they are, but they're showing you their representative, right?
Okay. Yes.
And then months later, you get to know their true self.
Right.
So, has that ever happened to you? How do you handle someone when you meet their representative and then you get to know their true self?
Right.
There is actually in the book a contract that I have created for people. I've had so many people say to me, I don't want to go through with this. I just met the true self. He doesn't look or she doesn't look like the representative. I don't want any part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I say to them, well, maybe you're not doing this for the person. Maybe it's a bigger contract. Maybe you're doing it for God even.
I have, I'm sorry to interrupt. I have
Oh,
Dr. Robin Cooper. She's asking, should I answer these questions now in the chat or in my notebook?
yeah, in your notebook. I don't think today is the introduction. This is segment one. So when we go through each segment, you're going to be able to really get into the questions. We're just throwing them out there right now for you to ponder. Okay?
She also wanted to add that this is so important to embody the qualities you want from a partner,
Yeah.
especially since we attract who we are at the vibrational level.
We don't realize that we are magnets.
Right.
When we walk around in fear or whatever, we attract scary things to us. We attract happy things to us when we walk around in joy. So it's very important to learn how to understand what you are projecting out there to the world.
She also has another comment. She says, I finally understand that all my past relationships were for my growth, no matter how hurtful they may have been.
Yay! That is the key to this whole thing. And once you grow, the key is once you understand that, to get your internal male and female together, working together, so that they reflect the external.
Right.
They respect each other. They support each other. They encourage each other. They take care of each other. When you're doing that internally, it has to happen externally. You can't avoid it.
Right.
Okay. Let me give you some other questions.
Okay.
And this speaks to what Robin is saying, which is Robin had a healing around this. But one of the questions is, are you bringing past wounds or unresolved issues into the current relationship?
Are you bringing past what?
Wounds.
Wounds. Okay.
Yeah.
Wounds.
So a lot of times, if we are taught not to trust, then we bring that lack of trust into the current relationship.
Right.
If we are taught to be suspicious or whatever, we bring that into. If we are taught to get what's mine, I don't care about yours, we bring that into the current relationship. So are you willing to take responsibility for your contribution? What are you bringing? That's the key thing. So these questions are all in the book.
Okay.
I redid the book, I added more to it, and I added these questions to it. So yeah, and they will be part of a workbook that is going to be available with the book. Okay. We teach you how to practice affirmation and visualization. On the video, I actually give you some wonderful affirmations so that you can take yourself on a journey through time and see yourself in that relationship that you want to create in the future. Right?
Right. I have another comment from Robin Dr. Cooper. She's saying taking responsibility, can't just play victim.
Exactly. That's the key. That's the key. When we play victim, we're operating in old female. Old female is weak. She likes to have a pity party. New female is intuitive. And she listens and has right action.
Right.
So let me give you another one. we're going to end on this question, right?
Okay.
What limiting beliefs do you have about relationships?
Limited.
What limiting
Beliefs.
beliefs do you have about relationships? How can you reframe them? So what does that mean? That means that maybe relationships aren't what I think they are.
You said reframe them?
Yeah, reframe. So maybe they're not what we think they are, which a lot of us have conversation, you know, everything from there's no men available out there to, everyone's kind of out for themselves. I think there's all kinds of thoughts that we have about relationships that are not necessarily true.
Right.
But when we reframe them and we describe our internal male and female, what does that mean? How do you take care of yourself? Do you listen to yourself when you intuit guidance? Do you follow that guidance? Do you carry it through to the end? Do you love yourself? I think that's the biggest one.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this was great. This is a great start. I think you've loaded a lot of questions. Yes, I'm going to grab my focus group and get them to answer these questions. So by next session, you can really, I'll send it. I don't know if you want to share, you could share some of them, but I'll probably just.
Yeah, I'm going to email them to you.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great. Thank you, Yvonne. This has been amazing.
Thank you.
She always brings great conversation to the table just to open up your mind. And now she's talking about relationships, just trying to get people into a good headspace. And that's all we want right now. So thank you again for joining us.
You're welcome. I want to thank Robin for jumping in. I hope Cheryl's on. I know she was supposed to be, but whoever's not here, whoever didn't come now, they will see us next week.
Yes.
And we will post everything, the dates, the time. We're going to do this for 4 weeks. And I am guaranteeing you, if you follow the steps in the book, you will have that relationship of your dreams. I have a lot of witnesses to that.
Now, Yvonne, if someone wants to, after watching this live and they want to just reach out and contact you, is there a handle that they could reach out or email where they could reach out to you?
TheWellnessGalaxy.com.
Okay, so if you want to get in touch with Yvonne, you're going to go to the wellnessgalaxy.com and you can answer your questions, whatever questions you have, and that's where you'll be able to get a great response from Yvonne.
And next week when we meet, we will have the links to Amazon where you can get the new version of the book.
That's amazing. Thank you again, Yvonne, for joining. This was a great pleasure. Happy Valentine's Day to you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of it. And you look beautiful today, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you for joining.
I wasn't feeling well today, but having this talk was like medicine for me.
That's amazing. I love it. So I'm glad you are feeling better, and you're going to be 100% next time we see you again. All right, so good night, everyone. We'll see you next time. I will post on my page when our next live session will be. And we'll see you soon. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Bye now.